So what I'm going to show you first is a short presentation about cold calls. And I have to tell you, when I first went on the internet to find this data, I typed in cold, cruel calls. Had to be a Freudian slip. The thing I discovered is that the essence of a cold call is that you're trying to convince someone who doesn't even know they have a problem that they need your product or service. So the first three are very easy to do. Known solution, additional expertise, creative approaches. These are pretty easy to do. We do those every day at work. This is the tough one. This is where the cold call comes in. This is where you have to convince, or at least bring to someone's attention, they have a need that needs to be satisfied. Basic preparation is straightforward. It's all about preparation. Over and over and over again, I cannot say it enough. You need to know your point, you need to frame your message, you have to refine your story on the fly. And the way you do that is you plan, you prepare, you repeat over and over and over before you make your first cold call. It turns out if you go to cold calls on the internet, there are a zillion, maybe a zillion and a half sites. I looked at maybe the first 40 billion, and I discovered there's 5 basic premises that always come through. The first one is research and know your target. Don't just call somebody out of the blue and talk to them. Know who you're talking to, because you want to be able to refine your message to that specific target. Secondly, get them to do the talking. You want them to talk as much as possible so you can listen and glean points of interest and make them, I can work on this particular topic and this particular slant. Third, nothing goes according to plan. You have a script. I have a script, but my cold call script is ready. I guarantee you, nothing will go according to plan. You have to be able to tap dance and make things up as you go. And fourth, you want to whet their appetite by giving them samples, give them examples. Maybe a sample or example from a previous effort that was successful. Anything to keep them talking, anything to whet their appetite, something they get for free. And last, you want data. The more data you gather from them, the more you have to work with for that call or a follow-up call. It gets down to the basic element of the call. No one's going to call you. You have to call them. So just sitting at home waiting for a call is not going to work. You have to be the one who initiates the cold call. And according to Zig Ziglar, it's all about your glands. It's all about the sweat glands, how much effort you put into it is going to make you successful. So a cold call, very simply, is something none of us want to do. It's the most fundamental type of selling that we have around us. And with that, I'd like to demonstrate a sample cold call to demonstrate these points. With my lovely assistant. Since we're a cold call, we have to sit back to back. One ringy-dingy, 2 ringy-dingies.
Hello.
Mr. Richard, my name is Mike Thorne. I'm from an organization called Toastmasters, and I'm calling you in response to a conversation I had with a friend of yours, Miss Angelina Jolie.
Oh,
She thought we might have some common interests.
really? Oh, it's always good to hear from Ms. Jolie, even if it is on a once-removed basis. I hope she is well.
Yes, indeed, she is. She wanted me to extend her best to you. She also suggested I make you aware of an opportunity on an effort that I'm currently working, an effort that she thought you'd find of interest.
And that would be...
Well, we're talking about the local business environment and the fact that it's competitive. It has to be focused on customer interest and awareness. And your name came up in that regard. And I was thinking that maybe she was right on target with that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. We are in a very competitive market. can use all the exposure we can find. Public awareness is crucial to us.
Are you talking about the general public or a specific subset?
Ah, that's a good point. As a general rule, we tend to focus on professionals in our neighborhoods. In fact, they are our primary market.
And I'm also guessing, based upon conversation I had with Ms. Jolie and other people around the world, that there's any number of ways you can do this, but you have to pick the one that gives you the greatest return on investment, the best bang for your buck.
Absolutely. We do not have enough of a marketing budget to spend on everything. We have to be rather selective.
I thought so. Ms. Jolie alluded to that exact point, and that's why I called you today.
Are we now getting to the real reason for this call?
Only
I'm
if-
about to hear your sales pitch.
Only if you want me to do so. I'm much more interested, though, to determine if the product I have in mind would be of use and actual interest and value to you.
Okay, what is that product? Hit me with your best shot.
Okay, I know you're busy, so let me give you my pitch. I know it's a pitch in 20 words or less. Here's what Ms. Jolie and I thought would be of interest to you. Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization. We have over 3,500 members, not counting family and friends, in South Florida and the Bahamas. And we thought we recognize that they'd be upwardly mobile professionals by and large, people you think are your target audience. And maybe you've heard of us. Maybe you've even attended some of our meetings.
Well, actually, I have heard of you and have several friends who belong to local clubs. They seem to really enjoy the meetings.
It's good to hear, very good to hear. But part of the Toastmasters experience, about which you may not be aware, is something called a district-wide conference. We have 2 of those every year, one in the fall, one in the spring. And as a general rule, there are 1,000 people that attend each conference.
Wow, 1,000? They sound like a big deal.
They are big deals. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and the amount of camaraderie and the amount of networking that goes on is actually very impressive. We draw people from all walks of life, but the thing that always comes through is they're professionals. They are, as I mentioned, upwardly mobile, and they seem to really enjoy themselves. And a lot of enjoyment, that networking experience, is captured in something called the conference brochure and program.
This is what, a handout?
Oh, no. No, the conference brochure program is anything but a handout. It's high quality, glossy brochure. It's distributed to all the conference members in person, plus we then send it out to full membership, all 3,500 members, electronically thereafter.
And you are telling me this because...
Well, because we thought, Ms. Jolie and I thought that you'd be in a highly competitive environment, and she would benefit from advertising your brochure or program that would directly target your primary audience.
Well, that part is true, but tell me the bottom line. How much? After all, my total marketing budget is rather limited.
Yes, we know you're not the largest company in the world. We also recognize that we all have profit margins to maintain, costs to overcome. But we can give you a significant price reduction if you order something this week. If you place an ad for within the next 2 weeks, the prices are actually $650 for a full-page color ad, $400 for a half-page ad, and $250 for a quarter-page ad. If you're looking at the full-page ad and say 1,000 attendees, that's 65 cents per person. That's almost guaranteed you're going to see and reflect on.
Well, that certainly is enticing, but suppose it takes me longer than 2 weeks to commit to your offer.
I will do what I can to make that offer sustain, but if it goes too long, I have to increase it by 10%, simply because others will be trying to advertise the brochure as well. But tell you what, let me send you a copy of the last conference brochure program so you can see exactly what you'll be getting and the quality that's involved.
I just have one question. Do you have an eighth of a page?
No, we don't have an eighth of a page. We figured that'd be too small to really merit a meaningful ad. We don't want to diminish the impact.
Okay, you make a convincing argument, but let me work with my finance and marketing managers to see what we would want to do and can actually afford.
That'd be great. I'll check back with you next week to answer any questions that may occur to you and your staff. Until then, I thank you for your time. I look forward to talking to you next week.
Okay, nice talking with you.
Bye. So, from your perspective, did we cover any of the major points? Did we get the person to talk?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think that he divulged that could be of use in further conversations? Here.
What I noticed is that the majority of your speaking time was not about the product. And if you called me on the phone, I would want to know, okay, what is it? Much sooner. Because it would be taking a lot of my time with small talk.
Okay. I recognize your point. My thought at the time was, I'll spend that time setting the hook through my friend Angelina.
I recognize the technique, just that
But you're a busy person.
I've had these phone calls before and said, what is it?
Yes.
I thought one of the most effective parts when you were selling the price was when you broke it down to the unit cost. It seemed very reasonable to me, 65 cents a person. I think if you'd started that way rather than said 650 and let him do the math,
Okay.
it might have been a little bit easier for him to, because 65 cents to me, I would have thought, well, that's a pretty good deal, but 650 seems a bigger figure, obviously.
I thought about that, but Duke's a little slow. I don't know. Judy?
No, I'll wait for my evaluation.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay. Do you think I made a suitable impression that when I call him back next week, that he's not going to be overtly hostile?
Yes.
Yes, he's going to be overtly hostile, or am I going to assume it?
Yes. No, it's what I'm trying to say, Michael. Is I thought you set it up well. You didn't try to make the sell in the first call. You just kind of laid out the format with with the intent that you'll be calling you back next week, and hopefully he will then pick up the phone call and talk the phone and talk to you.
Yes, Judy.
I will be evaluating you on your presentation skills. So as far as content, I think it would have been nice if you had asked him what day next week is a good day to call and pinpoint him to a morning or an afternoon and a day of the week.
Did my reference to my friend, our mutual friend, Miss Jolie, carry any weight?
Yes.
I just have a question on that, because if it's cold calling, you're not supposed to have any reference that ties you to the person that you're talking. It's cold calling, it's like, you know nothing about that.
To him, it's a cold call because he had never heard of me before.
Oh.
I was trying to establish a common reference that he wouldn't just go, right. Yes, Dave?
No, I think that was really powerful for me, because if you can establish some sort of commonality, whether it's a mutual friend, a shared interest, then we now have a bond and it makes you more credible.
I have to tell you the truth, it's a toss-up between Angelina and Jennifer Lopez. Between the side. However, thank you for your comments.